rats that would run across the rope that you had going out to the huts or something?
Yeah, well, this was in Tulagi.
Oh, okay.
Naval base. Well, you know, when I got to tell you, I had to make history with it too. But the Chinese before World War II were pretty much the what would you call it, the storekeepers or the people?
The business people. They were the merchants.
Yeah, well, they were kind of like the Portuguese before that. They were all over the world in business. They were the Chinese. The Chinese people just covered most of that of the Asian, all the Asian continents, few here and few there. They're the ones that go on out, and they come in there and they were the entrepreneurs. They were the people that had little stores. And this was a building what it belonged to some Chinese, and it was a building. It was built out over the water, away from the water on stilts. It was built out over the water, and that had been living quarters and also stores. Of course, they went out of there, so this was an empty building. So I appropriated that for my company headquarters. It was in the sector where we were given charge of, so that's my headquarters. You know, they ask people, you know, if it's there, it's in, you know, when you got an army, you go in someplace, there's something in there, you would take it, period.
Good place to live, yeah.
Yeah.
The news media doesn't understand that today.
Yeah. No, that's right. Anyway, so we moved in. We didn't move in without reading, but that was it. And so this is where I and my lieutenants, I had either 4 or 5, depending upon what the situation. And that's where we stayed. We had a couple of rooms and stayed in there. And we had a causeway that went out onto it. But sitting out there on these stilts and the wind and stuff, they weren't too sure of these buildings, so they put a wire, heavy wire, onto a couple of spots and onto the shore. It's a guy wire.
So when the wind blew, your house
didn't go that way. That's right. It's that way. But at nighttime, you could look out, and these rats would be running back and forth on this cable, just like you can find a squirrel. You see when you watch them go on a cable, yeah. And they come in there, and of course, there was just full of rats in that thing. We tried everything, and you take the causeway in overnight, but they came in over the wire. If we'd have taken more time, we probably could have stopped that. Like you put round shields on the wire.
That's exactly, yeah. Just put a round shield on.
But we were there temporarily and so forth, and I wasn't worried about who's going to live in there in the future. Yeah. So we just tried to get rid of the rats. We didn't have food in there.
But you tried to keep your target as small as possible from the air, right?
Yeah, right. Anyway, we tried everything. So we had a couple of ingenious people. All of your dehydrated food came in utensils, and some of them, like the dried potatoes, they were, I suppose, about so high and about so square, you know.
In a can.
In a can. And so they took that can, of course the top was taken off, and they set it down, and then he'd fix some sort of a little walkway that walked out over the top of this can.
It's that coloring, but I can't.
And then we'd hang some food there. And these rats would run out there and reach for the food, but it was on the swivel. You know, it was like this, this swivel. See, they come on here and step on here, but when it went beyond the center of gravity, she'd flip and they'd fall in. And so that's the way we would drown the rats. You know, every morning we'd have a couple of rats trying to get rid of them. We still couldn't get rid of them. Anyway, that was the rat thing. So one morning, one night, right in the middle of the night, wham, you know. Can you imagine in a room this size and taking a .45 caliber pistol shooting it? And here he had one of my lieutenants was sitting there with his .45 with a flashlight shooting at rats.
Well, yeah, Michelle, you thought the pump was
Yeah, you think of, yeah, you think
This would have woke you up.
man, it sure woke all of us up, I'll tell you that. That was Lieutenant Keith Hook, and he was tall and thin. In fact, here's that one picture, that's one picture on there. That's Lieutenant Keith Hook right there. That one.
Oh, yeah.
And one up there.
Right there.
You see, okay. I mean, he was a lawyer back in Massachusetts someplace, but he was not a soldier, I'll tell you that. But anyway,
Or a hunter.
Well, anyway, he was sitting there with a 45. Of course, you know what happens. Next morning, you get yourself, someone heard some shots there at night. You want to know who and where. It was in that area, see. Well, the trouble is, when you shoot it off once, I become deaf. I didn't hear anymore. I didn't hear any shots. Yeah. So you lie once in a while. So now they got a guy on for lying in the army. Yeah, we didn't. Well, you protect your men somehow, but
I shot at an unidentified intruder.
yeah, that's what they should have done. Yeah, but that was during that raid. During that raid, when it started. Now, this was the 7th of April that night when I met Kennedy. But it started in the early forenoon, I guess it was. Anyway, and we had this air raid. Well, that came pretty regular. So you just don't pay attention to it anymore. You just don't pay attention anymore.
Kind of like the tornado sirens, right?
Yeah, not pay attention to it anymore, see. Well, I was working at the desk in that building, and I know there's a guy from B Company, was a friend of one of my lieutenants, was over there. He was also, there was a couple of my second lieutenants in there, and he was there visiting with them. It was Bill Guthrie. He was a good soldier, real good lieutenant. The other company, though. But anyway, I was at the desk doing something.
That pillar up there,
and they yelled,
the bottom is down here.
and there's an area, and somebody come running in and said, "The Japs are here, get out of here," And so we took off, see, and they took off across there. Well, I was coming off of this, we were on this flat pace, and you go back a little ways, and here was a bluff. And there was a cave in there, and that was our air raid. We dived into this cave, you see. When I come out of there, that was the last one out. I had eaten too long, Anyway, I come the last one out, and I come out across the causeway. It wasn't when it was longer than when we got down here. 3 times the length of this table, as we actually went on out to the shore. And running there, and I looked up, and here was this bluff over here. And right over, just coming over the bluff, here comes that plane, And just as he cleared the bluff, he dropped his bomb. And I was going, here was this bomb coming right at me, right square at me. I got the end of the causeway, and I hit the dirt. He went flat. Luckily, the bomb went over top of me. It hit the water and exploded, but of course it was in the water, so I could feel the heat of it. I felt the heat, but nothing else. Well, I was up, and before the next bomb came, I was in that cave. And then they had these coveralls, and they have buttons on. Well, when you're laying flat on the ground, the bomb comes at you, they're just too thick, you can't get fat enough.
Yeah.